Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Real News Extra. My name is Fred. I'm the operations manager here at Relaw APC, and joining me today is Jennifer Felten, the principal and founder of Relaw APC. Hello, Jennifer.
Hi, Fred.
So this month's case involves an impersonation scam. Please explain what happened.
So the poor victim, he was a victim in this case, was duped by someone pretending to be a financial advisor.
Okay.
And he sent money to invest to this financial advisor who was not a real financial advisor. He sued the company that the guy was impersonating that he was from.
Got it.
And part of the argument was that in this case, the bad guy was impersonating their email in a way that was, he actually had access to a company email.
Got it.
And the company knew that this had happened and was working on resolving it, but didn't notify the public.
Got it.
And so the question of the case was whether, when you know someone's impersonating you, what's your duty?
Exactly.
Right? And so that's what the issue was. And the court said, you don't have a duty to notify the world that someone's pretending to be you.
Got it.
And the reality is, we all are being impersonated all the time, unfortunately.
Right.
With technology. Like, if we had a duty, it would shift the balance of power of how we deal with issues.
Right. Got that. So what are some steps that consumers can take to help protect themselves from imposter scams like this?
Right. So the biggest thing is you have to be paying attention to who you're talking to and verify, right?
Okay.
So pick up the phone, call whoever you're dealing with, verify, make sure that you're actually dealing with the person who you think you're dealing with. In today's technology world, we're not talking to someone sitting down in person in the same ways that we used to, which means it's very easy to impersonate someone.
Right.
And business is more global. All those factors make it much harder. And so you have to do your due diligence in order to not be scammed. How many texts do you get a day of someone, saying they need to reach you, right? We're all being bombarded by these things, and if you're not catching it and paying attention, you're gonna get victimized. And the person who wasn't the bad guy, who they pretended to be, is not responsible. Right.
So what are some things that professionals can do to try to reduce the risk of actually being impersonated?
Right. So, we can't totally control that either. But if we know something's going on, being very proactive, mitigating, cutting them off, right? Clearing things out, notifying people that could potentially be involved is all sound business practices, because even though you may not be legally responsible, your reputation is on the line,
of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a reputational piece of this beyond the law, that if people are out there pretending to be you and doing bad things, your reputation is damaged. So the more that you can do to have good security systems, notify people when you do know something has happened, and mitigate a situation when it happens, the less likely your reputation and your business are at risk.
Great. Well, thank you. And thank you for watching this episode of the Real News Extra. If you're enjoying this content, I invite you to click on like or subscribe. And of course, click that little bell for future notifications. My name is Fred. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.